What's going on, guys? It's your boy Boxing Facts Over Fiction. I need you guys to do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon for more videos like this. Billy Joe Saunders recently announced that he's fighting a guy in Shefet Sufi, and I think Billy Joe Saunders is levels above this guy. I think Billy Joe Saunders is gonna go in there and put on a show. It's a possibility he could stop this guy, but I think Billy Joe Saunders wins it. So I got Billy Joe Saunders winning this fight, but Billy Joe Saunders just announced that today. Billy Joe Saunders was a middleweight world champion. He failed a drug test, had to give up his belt, the same belt Demetrius Andre fought a guy from like Africa to beat for the world champion, a guy nobody knew. But with that being said, Billy Joe Saunders going to super middleweight is a power move in my opinion. I tip my head off to Billy Joe Saunders. I'm a huge fan of Billy Joe Saunders, guys, based on the fact that he talks trash, but he backs it up. He's a great fighter. Doesn't go in there to lay down. He's beating some really good fighters in his career. So I'm a fan of Billy Joe Saunders, guys. Billy Joe Saunders announced his move up to super middleweight. His first fight, I have to give him credit, man. His first fight, he's fighting for the vacant WBO belt. So I have to give him a lot of credit. He's fighting for a title, world title, his first fight moving up. So congrats to Billy Joe Saunders and his team. They're working really hard. Billy Joe Saunders and his team also had a lot to say in this announcement. Billy Joe Saunders and his team had a lot to say in this announcement. Billy Joe Saunders and his team talked about the drug accusations. Billy Joe Saunders failing a drug test on a Wednesday and passing it on a Saturday. And also Billy Joe Saunders being fined for something over there in the UK. Also the fact that Billy Joe Saunders was stripped of that title, the title that Demetrius Andre had to fight for. But there was a lot saying in this interview. Billy Joe Saunders and his team, they talked about the legal accusation that's going on, the legal fight their team is fighting with VADA. But Frank Warren praised Billy Joe Saunders. He said this guy is very talented, which I believe Billy Joe Saunders is very talented. He's only 29 years old. He has a long future ahead of him. He has accomplished a lot in his career. He beat the likes of Nick Blackwell. He beat the likes of Chris Eubank Jr. He beat the likes of Andy Lee. He beat Willie Monroe Jr., which I thought Willie Monroe Jr. didn't really show up, but I can't take credit from Billy Joe Saunders. He went in there and dominated Willie Monroe Jr. He dominated David Lemieux. And he dominated Charles. So Billy Joe Saunders has impressed me, man. I mean, there was one year we all was just talking bad about Billy Joe Saunders. He's not wanting to fight nobody. And then Billy Joe Saunders just goes out there and just embarrasses David Lemieux in his hometown for the WBO belt. I mean, while defending his WBO belt. So Billy Joe Saunders is a great fighter, man. He's not a walkover. He's not a pushover. But the main point of this video is to talk about, guys, the main point of this video is to talk about Billy Joe Saunders wanted that smoke. Billy Joe Saunders wanted fights with guys like Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to tell you guys how I felt like Billy Joe Saunders could have did against Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez. First of all, we're going to start with Gennady Golovkin. How I feel Billy Joe Saunders could have did against Gennady Golovkin. A fight with Billy Joe Saunders and Gennady Golovkin would have been a great fight. Billy Joe Saunders being a great mover, a great outboxer. He would have fought a guy like Gennady Golovkin. I think it would have been a close fight. I don't think Gennady Golovkin would have went in there and blew Billy Joe Saunders out the waters. Because Billy Joe Saunders would have never stood there and trade with a guy like Gennady Golovkin. There may have been a knockdown in this fight. because Gennady Golovkin, if he hits anybody clean, they're going down, and he has 12 rounds to hit Billy Joe Saunders. So he may catch Billy Joe Saunders and maybe once or twice in this fight and probably send Billy Joe Saunders to the canvas. So I see Billy Joe Saunders getting floored in this fight. But if Gennady Golovkin wasn't able to knock out Billy Joe Saunders, I think Billy Joe Saunders cruises to a victory. I believe Billy Joe Saunders could have cruised to a split decision, maybe even a majority decision, or even a unanimous decision, because we all know Billy Joe Saunders is a much better boxer than a Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin is going to throw that jab all day long. Billy Joe Saunders is going to slip that. Billy Joe Saunders has very good, underrated defense. His defense is amazing, guys. Billy Joe Saunders' defense is a masterpiece. It's fun to watch. We seen what he did against David Lemieux. David Lemieux couldn't hit Billy Joe Saunders. David Lemieux is very similar to a guy like Gennady Golovkin. And David Lemieux punches just as hard as Gennady Golovkin. So I'm telling you guys, if Gennady Golovkin wasn't able to knock out Billy Joe Saunders, he loses this fight to Billy Joe Saunders. Gennady Golovkin teams, they recognizes that. That's why they didn't go that Billy Joe Saunders route. Frank Warren and Billy Joe Saunders, they said they sent Gennady Golovkin the offer. They sent Gennady Golovkin the contract. Gennady Golovkin, he refused that fight. He didn't want that Billy Joe Saunders fight. They said they reached out to Gennady Golovkin multiple times, and Gennady Golovkin did not respond. He did not want that fight. He kept pursuing the Canelo Alvarez fight because we all know Gennady Golovkin was chasing money instead of greatness. Gennady Golovkin could have fought Billy Joe Saunders and unify all the belts and become undisputed at middleweight and stamp his name in history among some of the greatest. If he would have beat Billy Joe Saunders, Billy Joe Saunders had the last piece of the puzzle. After Gennady Golovkin beat up on Jacobs, he could have went after Billy Joe Saunders, offered him the fight. Gennady Golovkin turned down the Billy Joe Saunders fight. That's a fact, guys. He turned down the Billy Joe Saunders fight because he wanted to fight the much smaller Canelo Alvarez. He thought it was an easy fight. He could have went in there and stopped Canelo Alvarez. But little did he know, Canelo Alvarez has probably one of the best chin in boxing, because Canelo Alvarez got hit clean by Gennady Golovkin, who puts guys out. Gennady Golovkin could not defeat Canelo Alvarez, guys. Canelo Alvarez ended up getting that draw with Gennady Golovkin in the first fight. In the second fight, he just completely dominated Gennady Golovkin in an easy one-sided fight. Took all his belts. Gennady Golovkin vacated the IBF belt, though, which was the belt that Daniel Jacobs won when he fought Sergey Derevchenko. But yeah, guys, Gennady Golovkin ducked Billy Joe Saunders. That's a fact. Billy Joe Saunders wanted that fight. Gennady Golovkin did not want that fight. After he seen Billy Joe Saunders' performance over David Lemieux, he did not want that fight, guys. Just like Canelo didn't want this fight with Billy Joe Saunders. Maybe it's a future fight for Canelo Alvarez. But Canelo Alvarez and his team, Eric Gomez, they admitted they didn't want to fight a guy like Billy Joe Saunders. Canelo Alvarez and the Billy Joe Saunders fight could have been a very good fight, man. They're both very skilled. The only thing is, Billy Joe Saunders is the much bigger guy. 5'11", Canelo staying at like 5'7", 5'8". Billy Joe Saunders possibility could have outboxed Canelo Alvarez. But Canelo Alvarez is a great counterpuncher. So that's one thing, Canelo Alvarez, and he may have more power than Billy Joe Saunders. So maybe Canelo Alvarez could have beat Billy Joe Saunders if the fight went 12 rounds. But Canelo Alvarez seen that fight as a very difficult fight because Billy Joe Saunders isn't a stationary target. He wasn't going to stay there for that fight. He wasn't going to stay in the middle and trade like a Gennady Golovkin, who is an easier target. Canelo just picked apart and dominated in the second fight. But both Canelo and Triple G ducked. Both Canelo and Triple G definitely did duck Billy Joe Saunders for guys who are going to just stand there and trade with them. So we can't, I'm not going to say Billy Joe Saunders would have beat up on Gennady Golovkin, but he had a very good chance of winning that fight. And he had a good chance of winning the Canelo Alvarez fight as well. But we just can't ignore that both guys ducked Billy Joe Saunders. But do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for more videos like